All right, so this next video, people are outraged that this chick right here is not getting pay equity alongside her co-writer in the movie Crazy Rich Asians. And so they're writing a sequel for this movie, Crazy Rich Asians, and she recently just quit as the writer because she claims that the studio wasn't offering her enough money matching what the other writer was making. Now, here's a story on Hollywood Reporter. This is the original story. Adele Lim has left the project as Warner Brothers plans to shoot 2 films back-to-back to accommodate its in-demand stars. So basically, because she wasn't getting enough money, decided to quit. So let's read the story and then we'll find out why, and we'll find out why it's ridiculous for crazy SJWs to be all like, oh my gosh, she deserves equal pay for equal work. Oh, she's a champion for women's rights and blah, 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 blah. All right. We're going to find out if she deserves the equal amount of money for putting the equal amount of work into the previous movie, what her current schedule is like, and a bunch of other things. So her quote, being evaluated that way can't help but make you feel that that is how they view my contributions, says Lim, who believes that women and people of color are often regarded as soy sauce hired to sprinkle cultural specific details on a screenplay rather than credited with the substantive work of crafting the story. I mean, she literally got hired by her friend John Chu, the director, to be the soy sauce in the screenplay. The original guy who wrote the screenplay, who adapted the screenplay from the novel, had been working on it for a whole year prior to her coming on board. And I will show that later on. She declines to provide specific figures, but sources say that Warner Brothers starting offers were $800,000 to $1 million for Chiarelli, which is the other writer, and $110,000 plus for Lim. Warner's explains to Lim's reps that the quotes are industry standard established ranges based on experience, and that making an exception would set a troubling precedent in the business. The talks escalated to a studio chairman, Toby Emmerich, who backed his business affairs department stance, because she definitely did not contribute as much to the original screenplay, but she's trying to take half the credit for the success of the movie. And what happens when a studio decides to make a movie, they take on a certain amount of risk. Not all movies make money. Most movies lose money. Even if the movie breaks even, that means the studio lost money, because that means they sunk tens of millions of dollars into producing a movie only for it to have zero return. And they still had to pay all those people that worked on the movie. It's not like everybody gets a share of the cut and that people are willing to return the money if the studio doesn't make any. So this is the girl or lady or whatever you want to call her. But the story gets a little bit more complicated. Complicating matters was the fact that Lim had already inked a first position contract with Disney Animation for 4 years, but the Malaysian-born writer who is penning its Southeast Asian mythology influence feature Raya and the Last Dragon, says that Disney would have been willing to carve out on her availability. So she already signed a contract for 4 years to work with Disney. I'm sure she's getting a substantial amount of money from Disney, and then now she wants to double dip and get more money out of this movie, the 2 sequels of Crazy Rich Asians. I just don't see, I look at it as she got a little bit of a taste of success, and then it all got to her head, and now she's just out there demanding more money because she already has a job for 4 years. She doesn't need this job. So, of course, she can just walk away. Had she not had this Disney job, I guarantee you she's taking this job for $110,000. So, after Lim walked away from a deal last fall, Color Force spent about 5 months fielding other writers of Asian descent for the job. Chu, who was prepping to shoot Warner's In the Heights, was not involved. They came back to Lim in February with an offer closer to parity with Chiarelli, who had volunteered to split his fee with her, but Lim passed. So the other writer agreed to give up his money so that they both could make close to the same money, and she said no. And the reason why she said no is because she already has another job. It doesn't even matter to her. Pete has been nothing but incredibly gracious, but what I make shouldn't be dependent on the generosity of the white guy writer, she says. Why does she have to call him the white guy writer? Why can't he just be another writer? Like the principal writer, like that's his actual job. The principal screenplay writer. If I couldn't get pay equity after CRA, I can't imagine what it would be like for anyone else, given that the standard for how much you're worth is having established quotes from previous movies, which women of color would never have been hired for. There's no realistic way to achieve true equity in that way. She's the principal writer, first position contract with Disney Animation. She already has that. What is she talking about? What is she talking about? So, Chiarelli, he is the principal writer on Crazy Rich Asians. Chiarelli, writing with Chu, delivered the first draft of a 10-page treatment to the studio in late July. So, he is already working on that movie. She signed a contract to work on another different movie made by Disney, and she's complaining that she's not getting offered enough money. So then she can double dip, take time away from her other Disney project to come work on this. Okay, so who is she? Like, who was this chick prior to Crazy Rich Asians? So we're going to look at her IMDB profile. Here's her Crazy Rich Asians line. And then all her previous writing, her writing experience has all been on TV series. TV series, 1 episode. Lethal Weapon, 1 episode. Rain, 1 episode. So basically, she's written stuff for already established TV series. And if you know anything about how TV series works, is someone creates the property and then they hire different writers to come in to write the different episodes. Most of the time, that's how it works. Now, Peter Chiarelli, this guy, you look at his body of work, while he only has 3 prior, or actually even in this case, 2 prior writing credits to his name, he wrote The Proposal and then created a story for Now You See Me Too. Let's see how those properties did for the studios. The Proposal. Domestic total gross, $163 million. Worldwide total of $317 million. Okay, this is a movie that made the studio a lot of money in 2009. Then in 2016, this movie made $65 million domestic, but worldwide, it made $334 million worldwide. So this guy has a body of work, although it's only 2 movies, a body of work of producing movies that make money. And also, Crazy Rich Asians also made money. Another movie he worked on. So who is this guy? Peter Chiarelli. Let's see what he did for Crazy Rich Asians. So, known for films such as The Proposal, Now You See Me Too, Chiarelli decided to fly to Singapore after he booked the writing gig. I put myself on a plane and I went for 2 weeks. We had some people in Singapore that helped me understand the island, explore the cultural and traditions, meet people, and conduct interviews with Crazy Rich Asians. In terms of the screenwriting process, Chiarelli, I'm probably butchering this name right now, describes himself as a structural writer. He worked on the screenplay for an extended period of time alone, and that period of time is a year, which I will show you from another interview that he did. John M. Chu came on to direct a year after he's been working on the screenplay, and hired Adele Lim to add to Chiarelli's script to work on it independently. He later got another run at the screenplay where he worked on it for around 6 weeks before production. So here's the other interview that he did. Peter Chiarelli on adapting Crazy Rich Asians right here. What did John tell you about the film? Here he says, I wrote on this project for a year before John came on. When we finally had a script that we were excited to show to directors, the producers sent it to him right away. Okay, so he worked on it for a year. Then the other girl worked on it. And then he worked on it for 6 more weeks before they started production. All right, now we're going to find out how she became involved in this. Crazy Rich Asians co-screenwriter Adele Lim breaks down 5 big changes from book to film. Now, this is going to talk about how she came to be part of the project. So I'll just read it from here. When screenwriter Adele Lim stepped in to help adapt Kevin Kwan's best-selling novel Crazy Rich Asians for the big screen, director John M. Chu was eager to get the fresh perspective of a talented scribe familiar with that world. Lim grew up in Malaysia with her own strict family steeped in Chinese culture, so the world brought to life by Kwan hit literally close to home. Oh, and her own family was obsessed with the series too. It was a book my whole family had been trying to get me to read, but I was too busy, Lim said. She didn't even read this book prior to being contacted by the director about writing for it. I blasted through the whole thing, calling John back immediately and was like, I'm in 100%. I didn't ask about timing. I didn't ask how much the money. She didn't negotiate her contract. She didn't negotiate, even though her friend that was the director, she just took whatever they offered her because she didn't negotiate. Her agency didn't help her negotiate because I'm sure to them, this looked like a great opportunity for her to use as a stepping stone as part of her career. And now that the movie has success and she has a contract with Disney for 4 years, now all of a sudden she's like, I need pay equity. I demand pay equity because Asian voices are underrepresented in Hollywood. And these are things that me as a woman and an Asian woman and a person of color, we really need more money. I mean, get out of here. Get out of here. Like, comment, subscribe, check this channel, subscribe to this channel for more video content later.